Hello, Triple J Labradoodle puppy families. We have the week 2 litter update video for you. And in today's video, we're going to talk about all about the puppies and what they've done this past week. And we're going to find out why is it that puppies are born deaf and blind. And then we're going to go on and talk a little bit about 3 of the most important people in your puppy's life besides me and you. Hi, I'm Claire from Van Isle Labradoodles, and these mini Australian Labradoodle puppies from our Triple J litter, well, you can see they're growing. These are fat, juicy, plump puppies. Oh my goodness, talk about the picture of robust health. There is no lacking for groceries from these kiddos. Mama JoJo's milk bar is clearly, I think, full of milkshakes because these guys are little chunkers. Now, I want to point out that we had a litter a while ago that we told you the puppies were so fat that they couldn't actually stand up. That's not the case with these kiddos. These guys are moving around. They're really starting to become very mobile, and they're not to the point where they're so plump and so well fed that they're having any mobility issues. So in this past week, what these puppies were doing was still primarily eating and sleeping and growing, but they've already started to interact with one another. We don't usually see that at the 2-week stage. They might accidentally roll into each other, but they aren't actually engaging in any type of play. But we've been observing that these guys are actually sort of trying to play with one another. Their physical coordination has really improved. They are able to stand up and totter about now, and they do that quite regularly. Now, all of that aside, they are still primarily spending their time eating and sleeping and growing. And certainly the growing has been no issue for these puppies. Now for Mama Labradoodle JoJo here, you can see how she really enjoys having her head resting on the pig rails there. Oh, now she's going to change and go underneath. So she's doing great. She's eating really well and she's quite content. Although I have to say that right now she figures that isn't the 6 weeks up yet? Surely you can come look after these kids now. She started to tell us that she would like to be out of the whelping nest a little bit more and spending more time interacting with people again. JoJo is a ball hound. She adores chasing her ball. And if you have followed along right from the beginning, you'll know that I told you that just mere hours before she gave birth, JoJo was bringing us the ball and asking to run after it. And right after she delivered the puppies, despite having that giant stuck puppy, she was like, okay, let's go. I'm ready. So it is her absolute joy. Now this week too, JoJo had a visit from her guardian family. JoJo has a wonderful guardian mom and dad, and she has 2 human siblings, and she was so excited to show her puppies to them. But I think when they left, she was a bit confused, thinking, oh, I thought you were here to take me home. Gosh darn it. So she was a little bit unhappy after that, kind of looking around going, what? Don't I get to go? And when we took her out after her family had left, she went right out into the driveway looking for their vehicle as if to say, well, where's my ride? So I think she was a little unhappy that she still had to stay. However, she is doing a great job as a mom. And one of the things I really like about JoJo's mothering style, that she cares for the puppies. She's here to attend to all of their needs. They're always spotless and immaculate. And she still does like to build the obstacle course for them. She still takes everything and throws it all over the place and makes them climb over mountains and hills to get to her. But she's always very attentive and making sure that all their needs are met. But she also fosters a really good amount of independence in her puppies and gives them problems to solve. So that's great, because when you get your puppy, when that dog matures, that's going to be a dog that's already learned how to do things on their own, how to think things through, and also how to be on their own. Separation anxiety is something that people always worry about their dog's developing. And once again, dogs do not come with separation anxiety. That is something that they develop as a result of how they are cared for by their people primarily. A little bit by their mom, if they are abandoned by their mom or their mom dies, but more so, much more so from how people deal with them. So we'll talk about separation anxiety a little bit more when we are moving into week 3. So in our next week's update, we'll talk about how we start to work to avoid that right from the get-go when the puppy is here with us still. But this week, what they're working on is just still eating and growing. And a blue collar here has found that there's one faucet here that hasn't been utilized. I wonder if there's still something in there, because when these puppies nurse now, they nurse JoJo right dry. There's nothing left. So he's already gone through his spots and found there's nothing. You can see orange and red have said, oh yeah, well, that's it, meal's over. And purple here, she's still attached, but what she's doing is using that nipple as a soother. So she's actually asleep and she's just, oh yeah, I like that. Gives me lots of comfort. And then blue collar here, I guess he felt he needed some more. So he's gone on this exploration here and found that very top nipple, which hasn't been used, and he's working away there to see if he can get some more. Oh, and these guys are going to come back and see if it's time for seconds yet. So that is still primarily their role in what they're doing here. And what are we doing with them? Well, we continue to do our early neurological stimulation with them, which is all those really simple little stresses where we pick them up and we do something like we hold them like this, and then we hold them like this, and then we hold them like this. We rub their tummy. And then we spend lots of time fiddling around with their feet and their toes. And we just make sure that they're completely comfortable. And you can see there's lots of relaxation here. Red says, oh, sure, whatever. I don't care what you do with me. And that all is designed to have a puppy who becomes accustomed to things happening during the day that they don't anticipate happening, that would not normally happen. Because normally they would not be standing like this or upside down particularly. And to learn that nothing bad comes of that, so that they welcome new experiences and don't have any fear of them. So that's really the very, very beginning steps of desensitization and socialization for the puppies. Now, the other thing that we want to talk a little bit about today is partnerships for you. 3 really important key people in you and your puppy's lives is your veterinarian, your groomer, and your trainer. Now, why do I say a groomer? Because doesn't a groomer just do their hair? Sure they do. But for Australian Labradoodles, one of their main appeals is that teddy bear look. Everybody really enjoys those fluffy coats, the big eyes, the soft face, and there is a real skill to knowing how to groom an Australian Labradoodle properly. Many people think, well, you know, it doesn't look that bad. You know, yeah, I can probably do that myself. They go and buy themselves some clippers, maybe off of Amazon, and, you know, they get a couple of scissors that are dubbed as grooming scissors, and off they go. And whenever that happens, usually it results in a lot of tears. Grooming a dog is very, very challenging. To do an Australian Labradoodle clip properly requires a tremendous amount of skill. Groomers go to school for a long time. They apprentice for a long time. Getting the dog to be comfortable and standing still for a long time is also another skill, and also requires a lot of special equipment. The right shampoo, the brushes, the blow dryers, the whole thing. It's not just one little simple wash the dog and blow it and go to snip, 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 and there you go. It's a very lengthy, involved process that does require tremendous skill. So you want to make sure you've got a groomer, first of all, who understands what an Australian Labradoodle is and how to clip them properly. We will be sending you home guidelines for you to take to the groomer to show them. And you also want to make sure you have a groomer who fosters a beautiful, fear-free environment for the puppy. Now, I've heard some people say they like to go to groomers that don't put the puppies in cages in a crate in between while a dog's perhaps being washed and then is being dried and then clipped. Personally, would not be my choice. Your puppy is going to be crate trained, and this is one of the reasons why crate training is so essential, because your puppy feels secure and safe in their crate. Can you imagine being a puppy and it's the first time at the groomer and you're wandering around in this strange place with all these other dogs? And to me, that does not foster a feeling of security. I don't really like that idea at all. Plus, your puppy is going to go get groomed before they have their third shots. And so you don't really want them intermingling with other dogs like that. So for me, that's not something I look for in a groomer. But you do want to go check it out, talk to the people, make sure that you feel comfortable there, that their hours are suitable for you, that there's good parking, that it's safe to take your dog in and out of the car, it's not on a busy street location, and then just go and look around the shop. Good groomers will always have a window or an ability for you to see in the back where the dogs are being bathed, dried, and clipped. It's not hidden from view. They don't have a solid wall and a door where you can't see what's going on. If you have that, I would avoid that type of groomer. And then talk to them. Make sure that they're the type of people that you like. Make sure the grooming salon is clean. Make sure it's tidy. Keeping in mind, of course, it's going to be like a hair salon where there is going to be hair on the floor, because we are talking about people working with multiple dogs and cutting their hair. So you do expect to see hair on the floor, but you know what I mean. You'll get a feeling for that general feel when you go in. And then ask to see their book. You want to see pictures of Australian Labradoodles that they've groomed, and you want to make sure it's the look that you like. And you want to be sure that they actually know what an Australian Labradoodle is, as opposed to an Aussie Doodle, which is not an Australian Labradoodle, a Labradoodle, which is not an Australian Labradoodle, or just a doodle. If you go in and they just talk about doodles, you might want to just explore a little bit more and ask a few more questions. So that's your groomer. The other thing you want to do is find your trainer. Very similar sort of process. There's lots and lots of trainers. Now, the dog industry is highly unregulated, so pretty much anyone can hang out their shingle and say, hey, yeah, I'm a dog trainer. So you want to ask them, so how did you become a dog trainer? Where did you get your training? Did they send away and do an online course for 3 hours and then go get a stamp and a little piece of paper? Maybe not the one you want to choose. Do they understand what an Australian Labradoodle is? Same thing again. You want a trainer who knows that an Australian Labradoodle is not an Aussie Doodle and is not a Doodle, that they are a distinct breed and that they come with their own set of needs and requirements for effective training. You want somebody who does things in a very gentle and a positive manner, not a place where you can see anyone using a choke chain, a prong collar, an e-collar, or any sort of force. Now, there's two kinds of training. One is called luring and one is called shaping. Shaping is where you wait for the dog to do the behavior you're trying to get them to do and you reward them. Luring is where you use a piece of food to get them to go into the position, like say a sit, to do what you want them to do. I have no patience to wait around for my dog to sit. And I personally don't find that that method really makes too much sense. I don't see how the dog makes the connection as well as the dog is able to do when you say here and you guide them, and you can use that piece of food, the treat, to guide them into the position you want, and you can immediately go, yes, give them the treat. I think for me, if I was a dog, I would find that much easier to learn, as opposed to I happened to sit down and somebody clicked a clicker and gave me something to eat. It would take me a long time to get that association. So as I said, I don't have the patience for that. If you're a super patient person and you're really coordinated and can juggle a dog and a clicker and a treat all at the same time, by all means, there's nothing wrong with it. It just doesn't personally suit me or my style of doing things. I much prefer not having a clicker, using my voice, because when my dog does sit without me having asked them to, I don't want to go, oh, I don't have my clicker to click. I want to be able to go, yes, and give them their treat and reestablish the behavior that I'm looking for. So go to a training class or two, and specifically go to a puppy class. Ask them questions about the puppy class. You want to start with a socialization class, and you're not really teaching anybody anything here. Really, it's the humans who are learning the most, as will happen in all learning sessions with your dog. But what you want there in those situations is to have your dog exposed to lots of new people and lots of new dogs, lots of new sounds, and just continue to expose them to things that are not normally in part of their day, so that they're comfortable and relaxed in those new situations. And finally, your vet. Now, you will all get a video on these things from me with some tips and tricks, and just reminding you of what we're talking about here today. However, in our vet section, I suggest that you also go to the vet and you ask questions and you make sure that the vet is doing certain things. Right now, there is an enormous shortage of vets. You really are not going to have that luxury anymore. What you really are going to have to focus on is finding a vet who is taking new clients. And then again, though, go in, just take a look around, make sure it's tidy and it's clean, and just talk to the receptionist. You won't be able to talk to the vet. You used to be able to do that, but not any longer. Just talk to the receptionist. Just get a feel again for the place. Again, is it clean and tidy? And then it's going to be on what your personal preference is. My vet is a very small independent vet clinic with 2 vets. It is not a vet clinic that's owned by a consortium, as so many vet clinics are now. That's not my style. That's not the type of care I'm looking for my dogs. I much prefer to have a vet that I can have a relationship with, who understands me, who will work together with me, and who I can really get to know. In the consortiums, you get a whole series of different vets all the time, and there's no relationship building going on. And it's much more of a for-profit model. Not that my vet doesn't want to make money, I'm sure that they do, but the other vet is far more focused on always suggesting you have things done that aren't particularly necessary. So you'll find if you go in because, let's say, your puppy hurt their paw. Let's say they had a burr stuck in their paw and you needed to have it removed. And then when you were there, they would be suggesting that you deworm your puppy, and maybe you have this shot, and maybe you have that treatment, and wouldn't it be really good if you bought our vet food? Things like that. That's not my style of clinic that I enjoy being at. I want one that is more focused on how I like to do things and more focused on the wellness of my dog as opposed to the medical treatment of my dog. So that's just some tips for you. Those are really key, really important relationships. These people will be with you and your dog for at least 15 years, just like you're stuck with me probably for the next 15 or so years. So make sure it's somebody you really like. And don't be afraid to change if it doesn't work out. If you go and you have a bad experience, then you can walk away and find someone else. So don't ever feel that you're beholden to that particular vet. Now, we're going to talk about ears and eyes. So how come your puppy was born blind and deaf? Well, that's because they do not have the capacity to understand and process all of the information that comes from seeing and hearing. That's why their eyes open anywhere between day 10 and day 18, and their ears open usually shortly after their eyes do, up to anywhere around day 21 to 25-ish. So your puppy is 14 days old, and who do you think opened their eyes first? Well, it was Red Collar Girl, our firstborn girl. She was the one who opened her eyes first, and she opened her eyes on day 9. She was really early. The other 3 puppies in the litter opened their eyes on day 10. So everybody has open eyes. Orange Collar is just determined that he is not going to join in the party here. He wants to go and hang out under the pig rail. And I'm just going to bring him out since we're going to need him to share with everybody. There you go, sweetheart. Or her, rather. I'm sorry. You're not a boy. There's a girl. Excuse me. How rude. And so now that they have their eyes open, what do they see? Not a lot. It's still fairly much, we're all just blurry blobs right now. Over the next week, their vision will become more clear, and by the time you come for your puppy family visit in 3 weeks from now, they'll really be able to interact with you and do that eye contact. You'll get some eye contact going on already now. It's just that they are not able to clearly define, or see rather, and recognize, oh, that's JoJo, that's my mom, oh, that's Claire, that's Reynold. They can tell, oh, that's the big people types and that's the dog, but they wouldn't be able to recognize their mom just from sight. Oh my goodness, Orange Collar Girl is really on a mission to go and feel safe there. So I'll let her go there until we bring her up, because we'll go through now and do their weights and see where everyone's at. And you'll be amazed at how big these puppies are. They have really grown, and everybody except for one puppy is over 1 kilogram already. So Miss Red Collar, you are going to be our first candidate here. Oh yeah, see, you can see how strong that suction is, and I don't want to yank her off. There we go. But I do want to talk her into it. Oh, I'm just so exhausted. And now I'm just going to fiddle around with their faces a bit so I can see if I can get them to open their eyes and show you their pretty eyes. Puppies all have blue eyes when they're born. These puppies will not have blue eyes as adults. Blue eyes are actually a mutation. Seeing blue eyes in an Australian Labradoodle does occur sometimes, but it is definitely not something that we want to see regularly. Sometimes we'll see green eyes as well. Again, that's something of an oddity, nothing terrible. It's just not something that we're going for. These puppies are all going to have a light hazel color of eyes. And Miss Red Collar Girl is up to 1.203 kilograms. And she is our biggest puppy in the litter, as she has been right from the get-go. Right, sweetie? Yeah. Now I'll put her back where she was so rudely interrupted. Here, I'm going to switch spots for you. How about you try this one over here? See if there's anything there. There you go. Good girl. And next we'll get Orange Collar here from behind JoJo. Hey, Orangey. Come on, baby. There we go. I know you're trying to hide. I'll put you back when we're finished. There we go, little girl. Orange Collar is our smallest girl in the litter, and she is the only one who's not 1 kilogram. You can see her eyes there. They're nice and wide open, and she is 966 grams. Remember, just because she's the smallest and Red's the biggest, that does not mean that's how it's going to remain throughout time. It may even be that's the same when they go home with you, but in a year from now, it could be entirely reversed. Next, we have our one and only boy, who is right here between his two sisters, because he's doing problem solving. He has figured out how to go underneath this side of the milk bar and get to the other side where there's still some supply. So he's going to be very annoyed at me for removing him from that little treasure find. Hi, buddy. This is our handsome little man in the litter. Here, you want to show everybody your eyes? Yeah, he's got beautiful, beautiful eyes. This guy is just a sweetie pie. Hello, Angel. And he is 1.063 kilograms. So everybody's weight is fairly close. So JoJo's just busy there cleaning up Red Collar Girl. So I'll just wait a second to put him down. And in the meantime, can I just put him down there, honey? JoJo? Thank you. I'll just put him back there, okay? We'll look at Purple Collar Girl, who's right here. Come here, Purpy. Hello, Perps. And Purple Collar is going to show you her eyes as well. You should show everybody your big eyes. Oh, everybody's got so many yawns after they get a full tummy. It's a go. Put your face over there. Now, you know I'm talking to them and you know they can't hear. It's just because I always talk to them. You show everybody your eyes. Yeah, pretty girl. Perpsy is 1.051 kilograms. So everybody is really just growing like mad. I just gotta put this one over here and see, you can watch them walk a little bit. Oh, of course, when I put one down, then they decide that they can only flop down. They aren't gonna move around. So you can see how much more mobile they are. Right there you can see them trying to get up on all fours. Their back legs splay out from behind right now because they just don't have that strength yet to stand up on them. So they're still crawling and using their front legs. But there you go. You'll see how the back legs are going out, are going in underneath them now, and they're starting to develop that ability to start to stand. So I suspect we'll probably see them standing up in the next, well, definitely by when we do our week 3 update. And next week when you come back, we'll see if they can hear. And we'll be getting close to moving them out of the nursery and into the doodle den. So next week's update may come from the nursery here in our maternity ward, or it may come from the doodle den. It just depends on how fast their ears open and how soon they can start climbing over this ledge. As soon as they can start getting out of the box here, they go up on the pig rail and then haul themselves over. When they start doing that, then that's when we move them for sure, because we don't want them falling out or getting into trouble. We want to then move them somewhere bigger where they can start to exercise those newfound muscles that they've got. So hope you enjoyed the update today. Please, if you have a moment and you did enjoy this update, please give us a like, and definitely if you're not subscribed to our channel, please think about doing that too. We try to tell you something a little different in every video and help you learn all about Australian Labradoodles. Thanks so much for watching.